How familiar are you with Proposition 19? Well, in today's video, we'll be breaking down Proposition 19 and we'll be answering some frequently asked questions, so you're not going to want to miss today's video. Hey, this is Jesse Collins with Collins Properties. I'm a real estate agent here in Santa Cruz County, and I help buyers and sellers in the county and beyond, and I also work hard to keep you updated with all things real estate. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down Proposition 19 and how it affects your property taxes. And stick around to the end because we're going to be answering some frequently asked questions such as, do I need to buy or sell first to transfer my tax base? If I've already taken advantage of a tax-based transfer, can I do it again? What kind of properties qualify for Proposition 19? Who qualifies for Proposition 19, and other questions, so you're not going to want to miss this video. Proposition 19, also known as the California Property Tax Initiative of 2020, was passed back in February of 2020, and it contains three important parts. The first part, and that's what this video is about, is property tax-based transfers for those who are 55 and older. It also covers those who are severely disabled, and those who are victims of wildfires and other natural disasters. The second part is about the inheritance of real property and how that affects the property taxes amongst family members. This part of the proposition went into effect February 16th of 2021, and we will be covering that in our very next video, but today's video pertains to part one. The third important part of this bill created the California Fire Response Fund, and that is included in the bill as well. How does Proposition 19 work with Proposition 13? Well, if you remember, back in 1978, Proposition 13 was passed, and that pegged property taxes to the value of the property at the time in which it was sold. This can create large disparities in the differences between the market value of a home and the amount of property taxes paid for said home in the state of California. A famous real-world example of what happens to property taxes over time in the state of California can be seen when Warren Buffett bought a property in 1971 in Emerald Bay, California. That's a beautiful little seaside town outside of Laguna Beach, and he bought a property there for $150,000. Years later, in 2018, he sold that property for nearly $7.5 million. And according to the tax assessor's office, at the time of sale, that property was assessed at the amount of $289,000, and Warren Buffett was paying roughly $2,900 annually in property taxes. When that new owner bought that property for $7.5 million, he was paying over $75,000 annually in property taxes. This is a great example of the power of Proposition 13. Now, if Warren Buffett had been using that property as his primary residence at the time of sale, he could have gone on to buy another house in the state of California for $7.5 million and transferred that annual tax bill of $2,900 with him. Proposition 19 expanded on Propositions 60 and 90, and what 60 and 90 allowed was that homeowners in certain areas of California could bring their tax base with them when they sold, but the only problem was that only involved around 10 counties in the state. Now under Proposition 19, it has been expanded to include all 58 counties in the state of California, so now homeowners can bring their tax base from one county to any other county in the state of California as long as they are 55 years old or older and it is their primary residence. Now for frequently asked questions. Question number one is, do I need to buy or sell first to transfer my tax base? The answer to that is it doesn't matter. You could sell your property, rent for a year, and then buy a replacement property and transfer your tax base. You could buy your replacement property first and then sell your old property and transfer your tax base. You could do any combination. The only stipulation is that you need to transfer your tax base within 2 years, and it needs to be your primary residence. Question number two is, does my replacement property need to be equal value? And the answer to that is no. So for example, you could sell your property and buy a cheaper property, but you would still transfer the same tax base. Now, if you sell your property and buy a more expensive property, then the difference would be added to your tax base. An example of that would be, let's say you have $1 million property and your tax base is $250,000, and you want to buy a property that's priced at $1.2 million. well, that 250 would transfer over, and then you would add the difference, that 200,000, to your tax base. So your new tax base would be $450,000. It doesn't matter if the property is cheaper or more expensive, but if it is more expensive, you're going to have an adjustment added to your tax base. Question number 3 is, what if I already took advantage of Proposition 6090 or Proposition 19? Can I do it again? And the answer to that, and this comes from the California Board of Equalization, is you can take advantage of Proposition 19 up to 3 times. Again, as long as you're 55 years old or older and it is your primary residence, you can use Proposition 19 3 times. Question number 4 is, who can take advantage of Proposition 19? That is anyone who is 55 years old or older, anyone who is classified as severely disabled, and anyone who has been a victim of wildfires or natural disasters can use Proposition 19 to transfer their tax base. Question number 5 is, what properties qualify for Proposition 19? The answer to that question is only residential properties and only properties that are primary residences and qualify for a homeowner's exemption. And if you remember, in order to qualify for a homeowner exemption, you have to be living there for at least 2 out of the past 5 years. So any residential property that is a primary residence that you have lived in 2 out of the last 5 years would qualify for Proposition 19. Question number 6, is there a limit on the price of the new replacement property? And the answer to that is there is no limit. Now keep in mind, there is going to be an adjustment, but there is no limit to the price of the replacement property you can buy. So if I have a $1 million property, my tax base is $250, and I want to buy a $10 million property, $9 million is going to be added to your adjusted tax base. So you can buy as expensive property as you want, but there will be additions to your tax base. Hey, thanks for watching the video today. This is Jesse with Collins Properties here in Santa Cruz County. My job is to help buyers and sellers navigate this amazing market and keep homeowners as informed as I possibly can with all things real estate here in Santa Cruz County and throughout the state of California. I hope you found value in this video. Please show the like button some love if you did, and please subscribe to stay up to date with more Santa Cruz real estate news. And next week's video, I'm going to be diving into how Proposition 19 affects the inheriting of real property. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, stay awesome.